If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're settling into our new lineup. Tim Lacombe is joining Scotty G now from 10 till 2. They'll follow us. And then Jake and Ben are on at 2 o'clock all the way till 7 or whenever we have a game. And, man, during hockey and basketball season, it seems like all the time now. Scotty has a question at PK, and he points out something that in Sports Talk Radio we all know. We've lived it. Traditionally, Utah's been all about the Jazz, but not so much about the NBA. Curious if the same applies to the Mammoth. Now that Utah's been eliminated, do you still plan on watching the NHL playoffs? He's got, yep, I'm all in. If it's a Game 7, maybe. Nah, I'll be back in October. I thought October would win in a runaway. It's winning with 42% of the vote. He's got over 100 votes in, almost 150. 32% for I'm all in. If it's a Game 7, maybe, with 25% of the vote. How do you think the NHL plays around here in the long run? I think it's the same thing as the NHL. Your team's out. You're disappointed. The weather's getting good. This is a part of the country where there is a lot to do in May if your team gets knocked out. I think largely people go on with their hiking and biking and Lake Powell trips, don't they?
I hate Lake Powell. Most overrated vacation destination out there. It's hot. You do the same thing every day. It's boring. I hate it.
You know, one of your bosses lives for that and has 2 weeks at Lake Powell every year. One early in the summer, one late in the summer. And it's
well,
family,
she's misguided.
Family.
Well, they're wrong. They haven't experienced other things, man.
The beach, the waves,
yeah,
the crash of the surf.
Sun, the sand, the surf. Hennessy's. I mean, come on. And that's a eating establishment, not a drinking beverage.
And it's funny. It is a legendary place because when I lived in Santa Barbara, I worked with two guys who lived in L.A., and they were older, and I was a student in the sports information department, and one of them knew about it, and we were going down to a game, and the way it all worked out, he goes, we're going to lunch at Hennessy's. I'm like, what's a Hennessy's? And I did think it was a bar. We walked in, and I could hear the place as we were getting out of the car before I knew where it was. You could just hear the rumble of conversation or people eating, and it was like 72 degrees and blue
there's
sky.
3 in the south. There's one in La Jolla, too, if you ever want to go there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I spent a lot of time in La Jolla. But it was, and I don't know if we were at, is it Redondo Beach? Manhattan. I wasn't driving.
They have one in Torrance and Hermosa and Manhattan.
Well, this one was right on the water. It was glorious. I defy anyone to have a bad time at that place. It's impossiple.
Yeah, I took Scotty and Ben Bagley there.
And did they say spectacular?
Yeah, you sit up. They have a second story, and you are right on the Strand, and the water is 50 yards away.
Yep, that's where we were.
Right there. Yeah.
And you can be there on a gloomy gray day, but we were there. It was blue skies, Chamber of Commerce type stuff. Mm-hmm. It was glorious.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
we would always get a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich.
Okay, nice.
And I'll do it again this summer. I don't think that Salt Lake is anything different and is that unique in terms of the Jazz.
Bills fans, when they lose in the divisional playoffs to the Chiefs, they check out on the AFC title game? We're not watching that.
I think NFL is different. It's a one-game deal.
The Beast.
And you just have to allocate 3 hours versus 7 games over 2 weeks.
Well, certainly in a place like, say, Boston, right? Long-term, multi-generational city, tons of championships. So the Bruins, the Celtics, they check out of the playoffs, but you can just pivot right to the Red Sox. Now, that's not great this year because the Red Sox have already fired their manager.
Right, and I think that baseball. I can remember literally talking to Austin Ainge about this several years ago when he was in town for the summer league, I think it was, and he worked for the Celtics and lived there, obviously, and he just told me that he got a little tired of listening to sports radio in May and June and having them obsess over the starting pitching rotation. He literally told me that. Mm-hmm. So they do have other things that they can pivot to. And you're right, the weather, and particularly back there, my gosh, the springs are short. I mean, the good weather, relatively speaking, is shorter, much shorter than what we have.
Yep.
I was in Minnesota once for an NCAA tournament, and in the Mall of America spiel and I'll go to some little knickknack shop and buy something for my kids or something. And the young gal who rang me up, we went to Hillcrest High of all places obviously over there, what's that, Midvale, wherever it might be. And she told me, "Oh, you're so lucky." I said, "What?" I said, "Well, when you go home, now it's only a week or two and the weather's going to be really good. We still got 6 to 8 weeks of it." And she said it with such anguish.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, that sucks. I mean, all of us are just jumping up and down when spring arrives here. That's what's fun about living here. I kind of took spring for granted when I lived in LA and Phoenix because it's not that big of a difference. It can be some days, but the weather matters for people and you want to get outside. I do think also too, we need some rivalries, let's get Vegas in the second round or first round or maybe second round next year and go at it a little bit, because I think that obviously with our community, with the Jazz, and we have a lot of people who are not necessarily from here, maybe from Phoenix, Oregon. Well, everybody hates the Lakers, right? Unless you're a Laker fan. And so it's fun to watch them lose. I can remember Rod Zundel watching a sportscast. Remember they won, I don't know if it was their first, second, or third with Shaq and Kobe. And he leads his sportscast at KSL Channel 5 with, "Okay, I got some bad news, people. Turn away if you don't want to hear it." And it was that the Lakers won. They won whatever title it was that year. I don't remember if it was because they won 3 in a row. I don't remember what year it was, but he was talking about that. And, he's a Utah guy all the way, living down in St. George now with the Utah Tech. But, obviously he was brought up to hate the Lakers.
Yeah,
and so I think you can have that.
Yeah. It's in his blood. Bear River High Bears. Heard that more.
You can extend that. And then this will continue to grow. It's just in the infancy stage. And what's really cool is 15, 20 years from now, there's going to be a lot of fans who say, I remember when. I'll be dead, but the rest of them will be excited about where this franchise goes, just with like the hardcore Jazz fan. I've always said to me, I wanted to see the Jazz to win. When they were in the finals those times, I didn't really care if the Statues won a title. I wanted to see my 3 reasons for the Jazz to win were 1, Larry Miller, 2, Jerry Sloan, and 3, the fans. I didn't even put any of the players on the list. I put those guys who grind, and the players grind too. But I want to see these teams. I want to see the Jazz win for the fans, because they have been through thick and thin for decades. And they're the ones, right? They're the ones that go to the cemetery a la when the Red Sox or Cubs won. I can't remember who won, which one. And looks around, and as your eyes get adjusted, you see several other people are at the cemetery too, because it's at night, and they're going to share what it was, either Boston or the Cubs, and they had been jinxed. Maybe it was the Cubs here because they got the one. Boston has gotten a few since. And they wanted to celebrate with their deceased parent. And that's what it means. That's what we have in this town with Jazz people. And if the Jazz win, there's going to be people who cry because they're going to think of their parents or their grandparents who brought them into Jazz fandom. And that's what it's about. And it's going to take some time for the Mammoth to get there, but they will get there and they'll continue. And I think Scotty in 10 years asked that question, you're going to have more people be involved, particularly if it's for no other reason than I want to see Vegas lose, or I want to see Colorado, to pick the teams that are the closest. Who knows what's going to develop going forward. And right now we started something with Vegas. Who's that one? He's a flamboyant talk show host. Used to be in LA, and now he's in Vegas. And he's got kind of a raspy voice. I saw a video that he did where he's been there you go, JT the Brick, and he's smoking a cigar, and he's sitting outside, and he's ripping Mammoth fans for the stupid turn in your jersey thing, and you thought you had a chance. Now, probably some of it is radio entertainment shtick,
some of it,
but have that a couple more years, and then we're into it, and then for no other reason, we'll watch to see Anaheim punk this year, Vegas. Who knows what's going to be down the line, right? As the playoff brackets are formulated and teams advance. So I think the good thing about whatever the Mammoth are doing now, it's going to be bigger, fill in the blank when.
DJ and PK, we're going to take a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show, a lot of playoff basketball, game sevens. I think we're lined up for a couple of blowouts here in the West in the second round, but hopefully there'll be a little more drama. We will get to that coming up next. Everything you missed in this show. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LaComb.
Joining us now, he is the owner of the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth. Ryan, we can't thank you enough for hopping on with us.
My goal is to bring a championship to Utah, and we haven't had one. I want to hang a banner, and if it means that we have to do stuff a little harder, okay. But we're not going to tiptoe in to go beat San Antonio and OKC. We're not going to tiptoe in. We're going to have to do it the right way and build the right way. That's going to be what it's going to take, and you never know. But I just try to put the smartest people around, and I just feel like we're super lucky that we got this group. I'll just be honest, if they agree on things, I'm probably not going to stand in the way on anything that they come to, and that's typically how you want it. We've got really, really smart people here who also have that level of expectation, but all this is talk. We got to go do it.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN1. Or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. A lot going on this weekend, PK, with the Mammoth getting knocked out Friday night. That freed up time to watch a lot of Game 7s in the NBA. And there was some drama there. And we're all set up for the second round now. And it feels like we got two dominant teams in the West that ought to roll into the conference final. And doesn't it feel like the East is wide open? Would anything really shock you? I mean, maybe a mild surprise if any of these teams in the East advance. But because there's no dominant team, I don't think it's a big surprise if any one of them pulls it off. I mean, somebody has to.
So you're downplaying the team that won the most games in the year.
You what?
Downplaying the number one Detroit Pistons.
Yes, I am.
I mean, they were dominant.
I'm struggling to buy it.
Well, you always go stats. They were dominant.
I don't always go stats. For instance, here's an example where I'm not going stats.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, I may well be. Any of the four can win it. I don't think it's dominant. They're not terrible, but they're not awesome. They might be the team that advances.
The regular season would dictate that they were dominant.
For multiple reasons. One, Cade Cunningham, yes. But do they have a second guy who can really – I'm not sure I'm buying any of that. Maybe somebody will merge over this next month. They didn't cover themselves in glory in the first round of the playoffs against a team that's fired their coach that's never won anything, and they needed 7 to get by him. Not impressive. If you're really good, you blow through that. You roll. I just have my doubts. But because there's I have my doubts about the Knicks, too. They're now the betting favorite. I just read that this morning. The odds makers.
What have the San Antonio Spurs did that the Detroit Pistons have not did?
What have they did?
Nothing.
I think Wembanyama's more dominant at both ends of the floor.
Have a big Vic.
Yeah. No. It's what have they done, not who has the better player. What have they done?
They haven't. Haven't done it either. But I have more faith because they look like how a team is built, multiple draft picks and all that. But I'm not sure they're getting past the Thunder either. I just think those are the two best teams. And I think whoever wins their series will come out of the West. Obviously, and it was way early, but the Spurs had success against the Thunder, and maybe they can replicate that in the playoffs. I guess that's probably what they've done, is beat the Thunder multiple times. Which I get, you have more matchups when you're in the West than you do East versus West, so you got more chances.
You just said whoever wins that series will come out of the West. Isn't that a literal fact?
Well, the assumption in there was that they'll both win this next series, and then,
well, then whoever wins that series literally will come out of the West.
Yes. I expect they
That
will
is the most accurate thing you've ever said, because it has to be that way if they both win these series.
Assuming they meet. I built in an assumption that might be wrong.
But you said whoever wins that series will come out of the West.
Stop it already. You know what I'm saying.
That's the way the format works.
Do you think those are the top two teams in the league by a wide margin?
They're going to come out of the East.
Do you think those are the top two teams in the league by a wide margin?
Well, I'm biased towards the West because those are the teams that I watch far more. But my point is, why should I be as confident in the Spurs who've done nothing versus the Pistons who've done nothing? And the Knicks, they advanced last year, but they thought it was so great, they fired their coach.
Yep.
One of the stupider things that,
it's just crazy, right?
To me. Yeah, and they've been mediocre for so long. They get a little run, boom, you're the problem. Wait a second here. I'm the one who got you to here, and now all of a sudden I'm the problem? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not.
But that's the life of professional coaches. It's just, flip a coin. They had Phillies guy. They won 95 games last year, and they have 3 weeks of struggle. You're out. 3 weeks of struggle in a 5 to 6 month season. That seems ridiculous to me, right? But that's the way they do that. So I don't want to sleep on the regular season being actually totally meaningless, because that's a real bad look. We're going to dismiss the Pistons. They really haven't done anything when they just did something for the whole regular season, as if it means literally nothing now. And that kind of bothers me to an extent. I still think Oklahoma City is the team to beat. I thought it all along, and it's not changing. And I'll probably think that next season too. They have this opportunity because of their ages and contracts and all that to be somewhat of a dynasty. To what level remains to be seen. So I would go in that direction, but things can happen. And then guys have been dropping, not like flies, but we've had a lot of significant injuries here that have maybe altered the course of a result. We'll never know because those guys didn't play. Durant didn't play. I think he played one game. Well, who knows? I if you want to argue, that's all it is. It's just an argument, but there's no basis of foundation. And the Lakers here, and with Doncic not supposed to be back, and then Anthony Edwards, well, they're talking about maybe he can come back sooner than we thought. I sure hope so. I absolutely hope so. Just from a fan perspective, I want all their guys to be in there, and then whoever wins, and that's fun. To have it be shortchanged, Philly, we're excited about Philly now, but they got a huge break in Game 7 with the Celtics not having their best player, and the referees are clearly targeting and are biased against Jaylen Brown for some reason. Apparently, Jaylen Brown thinks a lot of himself to think that the referees are biased against him, of all people, Jaylen Brown. He's a nice player, but he's not a Celtic legend. But that's what he thinks, and they had injuries there. And so who really knows from the Eastern perspective? Because all I know is Philly together is a really good starting five, but they got a break because the one dude on the other team who's their best player didn't play. So how do I evaluate that in the next series? I'm not sure. The West seems more normal in terms of ways we can evaluate, as you're saying. So as far as the West goes, yeah, I agree with you completely.
Thunder and Spurs. We'll see if the Thunder can take down the Lakers quickly and the Spurs and the Timberwolves in the other series?
Well, I want Anthony Edwards to play, and then they're going to be down DiVincenzo.
Minnesota's going to have a hard time at full strength. They can't be at full strength with, you're right, with DiVincenzo. And then anything else, and losing Edwards, I mean, he's the star power. You absolutely want him in there. And they got to have him.
And when Bayama went down for a game in the first round, who knows?
You never know. You never really know. Tonight, it's Sixers and Knicks, Game 1, NBC. Timberwolves and Spurs, Game 1 at 7:30. That's on the NBC Sports Network. NBC's not doing a doubleheader. They're putting one on cable network, one over the air, and, of course, they'll both be streaming on Peacock. Are Knicks fans going to show up in Philly despite Embiid saying last time we played it felt like Madison Square Garden East? We're going to need your support. We need the support. We need them to be extremely loud. If you need money, I've got you. Embiid out front, right? Dishing it, handing out cash, writing checks, Venmoing people money before the game?
I don't think that's going to happen. What I would have said if I were Embiid, I would have said, all you Knicks fans coming to Philly, you're going to be disappointed because we're going to win. And then we're going to go to the Garden. You're going to be disappointed even more. Don't put it on the fans. Put it on you.
Stay home and be disappointed. It'll disappoint you everywhere.
But, there'll be Knicks fans there. There are Knicks fans everywhere in that region because it gets a little vague like we had Wojnarowski from the hockey team with New Jersey there, the Central. Do you go south? Do you go north? That's why if you ever meet people from Central Jersey, they're very conflicted. They don't know truly which way to go, whereas north and south, we know where to go.
Well, yeah, you go the other way so that you can argue with all of your neighbors, right? Root for the Phillies so you can get into it with the Yankees and Met fans. Let's go.
But I mean, there's no question I follow those teams. I follow the Knicks just as much as I've ever followed a team. I was never really a winning or losing Knicks, but I followed them. I mean, I could tell you who came off the bench in there in 70s and everything. I got away from it a little bit as I moved west, but when I lived there, I was hardcore. But I never really attached myself to any of the New York teams for reasons that maybe when I die, they can donate my brain to science and figure out.
Study that and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it has to be very satisfying for the Sixer fans to send the Celtics home for the summer. And now they get a chance to send the Knicks home for the summer when the Knicks have high hopes. This could be a very entertaining month for Philadelphia sports fans.
I'm going back to when I was 12 years old now. That's where it was at. For me, and I was my fandom in order was always baseball 1, basketball 2, football 3. It's changed, but I'm talking about when I was a kid living in the Northeast. With the advent of my moving west, with the college football being a lot bigger, that has taken a huge leap. But when I was a kid, it was MLB, NBA, NFL in that order.
There's another story over the weekend that also goes back to your childhood, the Kentucky Derby. The video, I love putting drones over races and just following a horse as it moves from 18th to 1st. You don't get to see that every day, PK. And that was the story of the Kentucky Derby, and you love the celebration. Yeah,
the lady being the trainer and then saying the good, I don't have to answer these questions anymore. I don't think and a lot of people in those situations do that. I think of myself, I want to be treated like anybody else. I don't think of myself as a woman trainer. I think of myself as a trainer. I want to be held to the standard of trainers. But to watch her celebrate as that thing is happening and it's unfolding live before her eyes was just an unbelievable feeling that she must have been feeling. And then through osmosis with the cameras, because you're not watching it as the race is going on, but then they've got that other all sorts of angles that they have and cameras available to watch her. And then the Ortiz brothers shaking hands as they cross the line, riding the most powerful creatures on the planet, those thoroughbred racehorses, the most graceful. And I know people don't want to call them athletes. I get that, but I do. Watch them do their thing. To me, it's a sign of beauty. And I grew up with horse racing being a big, big deal. To see that unfold, I always thought the thoroughbreds, man, just the power and the strength and the speed that they exhibited. It's something that really interested and entertained me. And then to watch it unfold, what was I forget the odds. What were the odds? Do you guys remember?
I think it was 23-1 is what I saw.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good long shot. And to watch her go berserk, I don't think how you can come away with that story. That's a cool story. And then the race itself, man, it was just unbelievable. I've been to Churchill Downs, but I haven't been there for the Kentucky Derby. But that's something that I want to get off the list.
We drove over there when we were there. BYU played in Louisville for an NCAA tournament probably a decade ago now, probably more than that. And we drove over there, and there's nothing going on. The thing was shut down and all that. But they got the they got the statue. It's like a baseball stadium, Instead of statues of players out front, get the statue of the famous horses out front and all that. It was cool to see it, but it was kind of like we got there. There's nothing to see. There's nothing going on. But bad timing. What are you going to do? But it was still cool to drive by there. Seen it on TV so many times.
Yeah.
All right, other sports news over the weekend. We put a wrap on the Mammoth season today. The Mammoth all done. Game 6 didn't have the drama of games 4 and 5. Vegas wins the last 3. So I guess as far as the series, to say, well, Vegas has experience and that's their advantage, and that turned out to be true. As it got deeper in the series, they found a way to get the big goals and win the big games, and they won the last 3. They were down 2-1, and they came back to win it in 6. So the only way to get experience is to do what the team did. Now, how do they tweak the roster?
Yeah, it's not all right. It's not acceptable, but it's understandable.
If you accept it, you're not likely to improve. So be a little frustrated, right. Be a little upset, but it's not shocking.
Right. It's understandable that team had a little bit more, and it showed a little bit more. And all right. And the great thing now is if you build a house, the foundation has been poured, and it looks good. And now you go from here. And it is comparable to building a house because no house is going to be built in a day, right? And they've cleared the barrier. They bought the land a while back and developed it, blah, blah, blah. Now, here we go. And now it's on the management to make that team better. That's their job. Jazz are going through it themselves. It's on the management's responsibility and shoulders to make this team better and make it to where I want to see, if I compare the Jazz to the Mammoth, next year for the Jazz, I want to see more than what I saw from the Mammoth this year because I believe there is more there.
I get it. I think the goal up there is how do you get to 100 points? And that might be a little bit of a stretch, but that's an 8-point improvement. They've got some cap room. They got young guys who should get better. And when you see 8 teams in the league get there, if you want to be one of the elite, you're going to have to get in that group. And you're going to have to do better than 100 points, but that'd be probably too much to ask. This is a process we've been told over and over, so let's go with the process. They made a jump this year from missing the playoffs to making it, from 89 points to 92. A little bigger jump next year would be exciting. But we'll see what kind of moves they make here in the offseason.
Yeah, I believe it's achievable.
Get to the 100-point mark. Let's go. We got a lot of feedback about them in the offseason and what you expect. We will get to that coming up in our next segment. We're getting closer now. We're into May, so we got the PGA coming up this month. Scottie Scheffler, not back in the form he was in the last couple of years, but he's close. His 3rd consecutive second-place finish on the PGA Tour, 13 under with a final round 68. But Cameron Young went low with an opening round 64, and he goes wire to wire and wins by 6 shots, calls a penalty on himself along the way. So if we're looking for the next big thing, PK, are we looking for Bob's number 1 pick when we get to the PGA draft? Scheffler or Young? What's he going to do? It's not going to be something.
Well, he already
else,
took Cam Young, so he can't take him.
Oh, okay.
He
is McIlroy still out there? I think we all passed on McIlroy, didn't we?
Yeah. And it's next week, not next month. The hottest golfer right now is Cam Young, and he's playing more. But Scheffler is always there. We talk about Jack Nicklaus with the 18 majors. And I think what gets overlooked is the 19 second place finishes. I mean, that's not as impressive, but that's pretty doggone impressive when you look at, what is that, 37? Is that what's 18 and 19?
Yeah, 37.
To know that 37 majors you finished first or second, man, that's really, really good. I mean, that's Tom Brady-ish when you think of Tom Brady has had Super Bowl losses.
Yeah.
But because he's got
7 wins, he's got 3 losses along the way, 2 of them to the Giants.
And I think the 10 needs to be recognized even more than it is, because there's something to be said. Now, for the Bills way back when, they never won it, so it rings a little hollow. But they've won. The Patriots have won the 7, and then to be there another 3 times, there's no dishonor there. And Scheffler is there. And I think it's hard to be in the top 5 so much, because golf is, guys can get hot. Anybody can beat anybody in a given day, in a given tournament. And to be able to put that stuff together, and we'll see what happens with Scheffler. How many does he get this year? If he gets 1, 2, I suppose I'd be surprised if he got 3. But if he got 1, nobody would be surprised.
Nobody would be surprised.
Probably nobody would be surprised if he got 2.
Probably be surprised if he didn't get 1, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But I think for Cameron Young, the time is coming. He's been top 4 in every single major at some point.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. And I know the courses are different, and, you know, the open courses tend to be a lot different than the PGA. But if you've been top 4 in the Masters, the PGA, the US Open, and the Open Championship, you're knocking on the door, obviously. So
he is so
good. That's his 3rd win of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's on track. He's so good that I've got to start learn the names of his kids.
I'm on his Wikipedia page. He has 3 kids, but he doesn't name them on the Wikipedia page.
He's 28 years old. He's got 3 kids, went to Wake Forest. Yeah, I know his story.
Kelsey. But you know his wife, Kelsey.
I don't know her.
I don't know. You have to dig them up somewhere.
But if you're that good in golf, I know little Bennett. I know little Poppy.
Because Jim Nance gushes over him and you memorize it.
and I knew Charlie, and I don't know his daughter's name, Tiger's daughter's name, but obviously Charlie's been out there playing. So yeah, and when I was a kid and he was winning, I knew who Bobby Casper was.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And I knew even then there was something about that kid I didn't like.
Nice. All right, if you want more on the NBA playoffs, we talked with Steve Cleveland this morning. He was amazed. He coached Paul George in college. He did not expect Philly to come back and get Boston from down 3-1, but they did it. You can hear him talk about San Antonio and Oklahoma City at the top of the league as well. And Mike Folta on the future of the Mammoth. What kind of moves might they make in the offseason? And Mike, without being asked, said, don't be surprised if some of the young guys get moved for veterans. Do not be surprised. So we'll see how that all shakes out. You can listen to Mike and Steve and to the rest of our show wherever you get your podcast. You can go to KSLSports.com, go to YouTube, go wherever you want. They're everywhere, Apple, Spotify, on and on. All right, DJ and PK, when we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it is time for the feedback of the day, brought to you by Half Price Granite. Transform your outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. $25 per square foot installed. Visit halfpricegranite.com. Got a couple questions up this morning. The Cavs beat Toronto to advance to play Detroit in the second round. Does Donovan Mitchell finally get to a conference final? He remains a lightning rod years later, PK. It's quite spectacular.
Well, he shunned us.
Right, exactly. Glenn, nope. He doesn't have what it takes to be, quote, the guy, close quote. James, on the other hand, yes, Detroit's probably the weakest number one seed ever. Oh, come on, James. It's a bunch of one seeds have gone out in the first round, and Detroit, even though it was shaky, they survived it. So if you're going to pick the weakest one seed ever, don't you have to go with the teams that actually lost in the first round? That doesn't make any sense.
You got me there.
Yeah, right? Come on. Logic guy has this one covered. Logic guy has it covered, PK.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. No argument there. Unless somebody went down with a significant injury that led to the defeat.
How about this one? Jessica, no, Detroit is much better. It just doesn't look like it. There's going to be a winner in the East. One of these four teams is going to advance, but they all just played 6 and 7 round. Actually, the Knicks are the only team that won in 6. The other threes went 7. The other three series went 7 games. Doesn't it just feel like this will be competitive, dramatic, a real grind? Someone will emerge. They'll be the underdog in the final against whoever comes out of the West. This should be entertaining, even if they aren't legendary basketball teams.
I think that that Cleveland has a good team. I think that they're solid.
Can't we admit they're all good teams? The thing is, are any of them very good or great? Pablo Mastroeni every week will tell us it's hard to go from good to great, and I think we see that across all sports. And I think we'll see it here in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, but you don't have to be great. You just got to be better than the competition.
Well, if the Thunder win and go back-to-back, then the discussion will quickly pivot to, are they a great team, or are they merely the best in this era? Or are they one of the all-timers?
I don't think they're one of the all-timers yet because they're still improving, which is scary.
Which gives them a great chance to be an all-timer, even if you don't want to pronounce it yet. You're fully acknowledging, get me to 2030, and I might be shouting it from the rooftops.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not disrespecting them whatsoever. I'm not going to anoint them after one. They've got to show it. Give me 4 out of 5, and maybe they do, and that's where they're at. But let's see if and when they get there, then we'll make that proclamation. I can see Cleveland, not easily, but I can see Cleveland coming out of the East. I think they're a pretty good team. It's amazing to me that Sam Merrill, right now, you have to say, well, he's had a better NBA career than Jimmer. That would be shocking to think of when Jimmer was doing his thing, and even when Sam was doing his thing. But here we are, and good on Sam. That's great. That's awesome. I'm sure Aggie fans are pulling for him to do well, and probably pulling for the Cavs now that Nemus there got bounced for Boston. There's no other Aggie lurking in the playoffs that I'm
No, I don't think so. Right? I think that's it right there. Yeah, those are the two.
And so I understand that you're a smaller school. You don't have that many NBA players. And so be able to have that's fun. But I think Cleveland is dangerous. That's for sure.
Is there one of these four that isn't dangerous?
But I think they're dangerous in terms of getting to the finals and having a chance to win it.
That's interesting. Of all the teams to get to the finals, would they have the best puncher's chance? They'd all be underdogs. You know, the thing I've always liked about him is that they have real size there in front. and then you put a couple dynamic scores on the three-point line. The problem is it's not the NCAA tournament. In the NCAA tournament, I absolutely give them a puncher's chance, right? That's the combo. Now, can you do it 4 out of 7? Probably not. But I get where you're going with that. A couple of 7-footers who aren't stiffs. They're athletic, you know. They can run, they can jump, they can move, and they have skills. They can score.
We saw Allen do what he did yesterday, and that was very impressive. So I like their team. What does that mean? Who knows, man? I probably, of all the 4, think they have the best roster of players.
And we know we need to dismiss the regular season to a large degree when you get to the playoffs. Now, not completely. I mean, look at how quickly San Antonio in 5 and Oklahoma City in 4 advanced, and they had the 2 best records, right? With 64 and 62 wins, they had the 2 best records in the entire league. Detroit's right behind them at 60. But you got to put some of that aside because making that James Harden move, you're a different team. A lot of what you did is just different. You know, now Harden's had his own, playoff failures, and sometimes it's been, hey, he was excellent and his team was very good, but the Warriors were great. So he was just some of that. I know it's fun to bang on James Harden, and I'll do it sometimes, but some of those peak years, like that was just the wrong time to be peak James Harden. The Warriors were just too good.
Right. And he is not peak James Harden at 36. I think he is, but he doesn't need to be. He needs to just be good James Harden. He doesn't need to carry the load.
But you were having that back and forth with Steve Cleveland about the 3-point shot in the Boston-Philly series, and you pivoted correctly to that game and said, hey, Harden didn't shoot it well, but they had to win Game 7. It would have been a massive failure. And he got to the free throw line and kept them afloat, which is the point Steve had just been making generically. And you circled back a couple of minutes later, and there's the example from this weekend. He can't hit the 3, but he can get to the line a lot. Was it 11 to 13, I think you said?
It was 11 to 13, ends up scoring 18 points.
That's a lot.
Which were for James Harden, where he is in his life right now. That's a vital contribution. You got Strus, who can make some contributions. You got Merrill. You got Schroeder. That's 3 guys right there off the bench that can really help you win games. That's what I'm saying. I think they might have the best roster 1 through 8, 9 in the East. I'm talking about not in the league, but I'm talking about in the East.
There's so many positives in addition to the fact he gets to go get 11 points, which is the biggest thing. But when you're playing guys big minutes in the playoffs, and he and Mitchell and Mobley are all playing big minutes, that's a chance to stop and catch your breath, to literally relax when you don't dare do that at other points in the game, but you get to then. And also, he's getting everybody else into the bonus because he's getting fouled so often. Who else? And I have to go back. I'm going to go back and check the play-by-play. But, somebody went to the free throw line late in some quarter because Harden drew fouls and got him in the bonus. So he helped. Yeah. He didn't get an assist for that, but he should. There's just so many positives to that. And then does another guy play differently because now he's in foul trouble and maybe he's a little less aggressive in a key situation, defending, going for a rebound, whatever. There's a lot of positives.
100%, yeah.
All right, we got a lot of people. Go to our Facebook page, DJ and PK. Lots of people evaluating the Mammoth season. One guy gave him a B. A lot of people saying, hey, they checked the box onward and upward. That seems to be the take. I think we'll hear more of that from Scotty and the coach coming up, but we will let them speak for themselves right after the break. Scotty and the coach next, right here on The Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.